have led to increasing fragmentation. Okay. And supply chain disturbance have led to increasing fragmentation of markets. Trade routes and partnerships that were once stable are now vulnerable, creating uncertainty to both exporters and importers. And second, a wave of new predictionist policies, including tariff introduced by United States and countermeasures from other nations have further restricted open trade and limited opportunities for global integration. Also, with the ASEAN frameworks and African continental free trade area, these trends are helping a little mitigate some of the risk locally, but still they are having a problem of, reinforcing and strengthening the global economy. That's still not happening. Uh, um, I think someone is waiting to be admitted. Can anyone admit them? Let me check. Okay, I've done that. All right.
I've done that, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead, man.
Okay. And then together these dynamics, of fragile state of today's global trade and what's happening at a local trade, it is weakening the growth momentum. And it is not allowing significant to put solutions to significant challenges. And in United States, trade tension were accelerated this year. And they actually imposed 25% of tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, batteries, and solar panels. These all are the essential components of moving to renewable energy. And so having these tariffs, high tariffs, it has stalled that market. And therefore, global decarbonization efforts are not seen to be progressing as we wanted. So these measures have been, complicated. They have been stopping the market or renewable market, but also they have been, extended to the very strategic industries like steel, aluminum, and semiconductors, and signaling, a broader push to protect domestic industries and reduce dependency on foreign supply. We can understand there is a need to increase the domestic industry, but not in this way. It should be a gradual process. The domestically people have, in developed countries such as US and UK, people have completely forgotten manufacturing. And now the government is saying you start from zero. And that is so much difficult for everyone. And the market that are flourishing due to, or actually surviving due to this export of their products, they are also struggling in a way how they would keep up with this high tariff. So these are the problems that have been very sudden, and people are not able to, absorb or address them immediately. So, and the ripple effect has been also immediate and far-reaching, as I mentioned. China and the European Union are considering counter tariffs now. So setting the stage for a cycle of retaliatory trade actions that increase uncertainty in global market. And the need to reroute production and sourcing strategies. And it is not only in these commodities like hard commodities like which I mentioned just now. It is also rising prices and tariffs and very strong, regulations within the EU for forest. like products coming from forest. So it has touched even the agriculture industry, such as, cocoa or coffee and things coming from forest directly. And what is interesting that while EU or other developing countries like US and EU, they are producing these regulations and tariffs. However, there is no proper communication with the government level or at a public level or community that is already involved in this, business community or the farmers community and so on, that even the definitions of what they mean by forest and how it is called sustainable forest are not clear to the people who are the end users or the in between parties who are dealing with this export and import. So these are things that are really stopping the market flow, stopping the global trade. And so there is definitely a need to reshape global trade flows and also dwell into the challenges to think the position of the global value chain. So is and also from many years what we have seen that global value chain has been important for people to keep living but not to progress, not to prosper. And therefore we need to think who are beneficiaries of this global value chain and how we can increase the value for each and every user of that. And therefore we need to think because it is fragmented and regionalized, absolutely regionalized or fragmented there. And so we need to understand how we can protect, how we can, uh, connect these uh, pockets of processes or fragmentation into a way that we can achieve a better goal of resilience, competitiveness, and sustainable development. So, in today's again internet interconnected world, what conflict is very common now and then. We are seeing what's happening. I don't want to repeat the whole thing, but it is a problem or creating disturbance into global trade flows and reshaping, our supply chain and threatening the stability of economics. So the Russian Ukraine war continues to destabilize global food and energy markets with blocked chain, grain export and fluctuating fuel prices rippling far beyond Europe. Countries like Africa, Asia, and Middle East, many of them rely heavily on Ukraine grain and have faced acute food insecurity and heightened inflationary pressures, underscoring, even conflict in one or more regions that has magnified, inequalities worldwide. At the same time, disturbance is critical. Shipping corridors, such as it has disturbed shipping corridors such as Red Sea and Suez Canal. Um, they have caused transport costs to so much so that it has increased by 30% in early 2024. This has not only delayed, deliveries of goods, but also forced some shipping companies to reroute vessels via longer and costlier paths, amplifying uncertainty across global supply chain. What has happened in the Middle East that these there have been conflicts, and they have also placed immense strain on energy flows, creating volatile in oil and gas prices that directly impact industry production. Household energy bills and the competitiveness of economies worldwide have been, growing, and it has been very uh, not so good news for these household energy bills and so on. So the combined effect is that the world economy increasingly becomes vulnerable to political instability, where every shock in one region cascades across markets and borders. And the result is that more than higher prices and delayed shipments, and there is a loss of trust in this global system. Nation are, questioning the reliability of long-standing trade agreements. Businesses are reconsidering investment in unstable region, and communities are paying the price. You won't believe that I was a bit surprised that generally I have a battery operated car, so I don't pay tax. But this year they have started asking tax for that too in London, meaning that they want general public to pay, and that is not also resolving the problem, and not providing any security to public. So conflict-driven trade disturbance thus amplifies inequality, hitting the most vulnerable populations hardest. And wealthier nations, uh, they can be protectionist and they can be self-sufficient, but there is a growing urgency of rethinking, resilience, diversifying trade routes, and embedding sustainability and equality in global supply chain, which we should all be thinking about. And I think rightly what Sunday has mentioned in his presentation was just that, we need to think about all these problems together and co-create some you know, some these what you say some solutions. My presentation is very very long, but I can now shortly compile few things and finish off, because I think it is already 52 and we need to stop at 2 or just past 10 past 2. So having said that, climate change is an increasing pressure on global trade policies and investment decisions and corporate strategies because of the EU Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism and US Inflation Reduction Act. They both are, examples of climate policy in shaping the trade. And we must think of what is the carbon cost of goods and why it matters to think them as our financial cost. And uh, 3% of, and I think Sunday also mentioned about the maritime and aviation, and all these industries are feeling a lot of pressure on that due to carbon emissions. However, having all these problems, there is a huge educational, sorry, let me go to this next. There is a huge education and skill gap. Uh, 1 in 3 workers globally lack basic digital green skills. What is green skills? They hardly know. And there is a misalignment between education and industry. Industry looks for something else, and the education system is 10 to 20 years old. People who are teaching students do not research or are not into practice, and therefore they don't know the latest happenings in the practice, and therefore they cannot impart those skills to the students, and therefore there is a mismatch, and therefore there is increase in unemployment rate, and also in very critical skills there is a gap of skill gap in the critical skills that needed for industries. And therefore, therefore we need to work, hold on. So we need to work on what skills are needed by our own local labor and how we can impart that. And in all this, we need to be aware of sustainability because the sustainability definition was introduced in 1972. Sustainable Development Goal in definition was given. However, that has been so much debated, and it has matured in all our dialogues, that today we need to think of it in each and every our activities, and therefore we need to be more and more literate about what it is. But at the same time, there are challenges like greenwashing and inequality, which we need to also think about how we can bring some transparency and traceability in what we do. And that also requires a lot of excellence and skills in things that we do. And business performance and community impact. Actually, if companies do not integrate ESG performance or sustainability performance within their practices, it is a missed opportunity for them. And we know that there are 60% of EMEs, actually 80% of EMEs, who are the large portion of business wing, and we need to capture their attention on how they do the business or how they form the supply chain, because the large organizations are responsible for their carbon emissions, but scope 3 forms the supply chain, which is formed by SMEs, and therefore we need to work on scope 3. That is, SMEs need to understand what is required by them and how they can improve their. And there's a huge opportunity with waste, energy, water, and governance with SMEs. And therefore, I believe that complex adaptive systems are a huge, like a system which can bring all multiple actors together, but also can provide a lens that we can see the interconnection of the parts of our system, or even if it is a small or big. If your organization, you can think as a system, and you can approach these problems systematically. And what I have found, that if you have a pilot yourself, that you evaluate your performance and then you refine that. Once you evaluate, that is, if you measure and if you try to understand where you stand, you will be able to refine and you will be able to scale. So this is a common core concept that we need to think. We need to be literate how to evaluate our system, and then how to increase the intervention, creative interventions in it, and how to scale it up. And there are several examples which have been, applied into regenerative agriculture, circular economy, and maritime decarbonization, and that is what we want. And so everyone needs to think that way. Of course, global trade, as I mentioned, it has a lot of challenges, but it also provides us a lot of opportunities to improve our system, to contribute towards our system, and that we should be doing. I can't elaborate much now. I will send my PowerPoint presentation to everyone. And especially at the core of our happenings, we must have inclusivity. We must, we must not exclude anyone, and we must strive to have everyone on board. And therefore, we need to be more flexible, more adaptable, more, creative in how we can increase the accessibility to people. For example, today we are digital, we are having this digital platform, meaning that the people who are without digital infrastructure will not be able to join us, and how we can then impart this education to them as well. And this is where we should be going forward. So I think this is, I will skip, but I would finally stop by just this quote. that sustainability is not trade, is in trade is not just about goods, but it is about people, communities, and our shared planet. And so I will stop here for any question and answers. I'm sorry I could not go through all my slides because it was too long. And I will stop sharing and I can invite question and answers, and then I can, because I have a meeting also at 2 o'clock, I will have to leave. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renuka.
Thank you. Dr. Sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Renuka, for the presentation. It was insightful and showed the importance of not
I
only
think
looking...
Olalekan, your voice is too low. We can't.
Okay, it showed the importance of looking at...
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, it showed the importance of looking at cost, not just from the monetary aspect, but looking at cost in terms of the carbon embedded within the process itself. Thank you so much for that. I don't know. Okay, I think there's a few hands. We'll just take maybe one question. Any other question can be dropped in an email to Dr. Dedero and be forwarded to the speaker. Okay. I'm not sure of the name now. I think it's Uganda Avocados. If you can speak and so that we can take your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm called Richard, actually, Richard Welishe.
Yeah.
And
welcome,
I'm
Richard.
the promoter of the avocado production in Uganda, basically targeting smallholder farmers to benefit from this value chain. I want to thank the team so much. I joined this platform about 2 years ago, I think. And I'm really excited that today we are almost having a breakthrough. I don't want to take a lot of time, but just to thank a doctor. And I wish what she has presented comes into action, because many times we do a lot of presentation, but when it comes to action, really nothing little is being done. So as you have mentioned, there are many other opportunities more than funding some of these activities, but I think there are problems in governments, especially choosing the priorities where to put finances. So mine is more of advocacy, joining the globe, especially on the global change, climate change, because this is the source of every suffering of the human race. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. That's exactly what I also found after a few years of, meeting everyone, that there's a huge need to do an action on ground, and we are doing several things now. I know it is for me, especially, it is a time constraint that I cannot reach out to each and everyone one-to-one or in group as well. But I am now forming an organization, structure where it will be possible for each one to meet in a sense of a cascading structure we are proposing, and we will be able to make the impact on ground. Actions are definitely that what we need, not the talk, or I would say we need to walk the talk, and we will be doing that soon. Whatever the actions you might want to take on the ground, let us know, and we will think of how we can support you and how we can increase your ability to impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I will invite Dr. Dedero to wrap up for today. And thank you everyone once again.
All right, thank you, Dr. Shodi. Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful presentation. I think the next thing on our agenda is to inaugurate the society. So I would like to invite Dr. Renuka to do that for us as we close the meeting, the inauguration.
Okay, thank you very much. What name we should give? what name are we giving it?
Yes. Okay. Like sorry to all our audience. Initially we call it a Society of Sustainable Solution and Academics, but later we find out that that name has restriction because this network is not only for academics. It goes beyond that. It involves professional, practitioner, content creators, creators, those that are doing innovative things within and outside, academic institutions. So we felt a change in the name. So from henceforth, we will be glad to call it Hub for Sustainable Solution.
Okay.
So that we accommodate, yeah.
Right. Hub for Sustainable Solutions.
Yes.
Okay. Let us say, is it a global hub or is it Africa hub?
Oh, what do you suggest?
Is it global hub or Africa base?
All right, that's fine.
No, you tell me, what is it? A global? Do we want global or Africa?
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking about that. So
Okay.
I'm asking, should it be global? Should we make it global?
Let's call it,
limit it to Africa. Yeah. Okay.
let's call it Global Hub for Sustainable Solutions.
Okay, Global Hub of Sustainable Solutions. Okay, let us say that way, GHSS, right? Global Hub for Sustainable Solutions. I announce it today to be inaugurated. I mean, by all of you. I don't want to just be the only one to say that. We all can clap for that, for the inauguration. And also congratulate Sunday for having this dream. And we will all support you on this, aspirational hub in all the ways that we can do. So I would also help you to structure and whatever the help we can give to each other. We can do that. So thank you for having me here, and also thank you for all of you to be joining in this, very memorial meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka.
Thank you
So,
so
Dr.
much.
Sudi, I think we conclude.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you once again for joining us today. And I think it's time to draw the event to a close. Okay. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of the day. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye for
Thank
now.
you
Bye.
to everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you,
bye.
everyone.